If you've ever hit a revenue milestone and still felt the pressure, the anxiety, or like you were hustling just to hold it all together, you're not alone. My money mentor is teaching a free 3-day workshop this week to help you break that cycle and build a business that actually feels as good as it looks. Tap the link in the show notes for details. You know, I've worked with so many high-achieving women who were burning out, thinking they had to do more to grow their business. But when we slowed things down and built from their rhythm, everything changed. In this episode, I'm sharing how to stay grounded when everything around you is moving, your team, your calendar, global events. Because if you're still following someone else's strategy, you're probably hitting walls that don't even belong to you. Let's talk about how to finally lead from your own blueprint. Hi, welcome to the Connect with Sheila Botelho podcast. I'm committed to help you reconnect to your purpose, elevate your well-being, and build your version of a happy, successful life. Today, I want to share something deeply personal and incredibly universal, especially if you're navigating one of those seasons where your business, your family, the world, your team, your inbox, it all feels like a lot. If you're in a growth season that feels both exciting and demanding, I invite you to drop in, because I'm talking about creating your version of a happy, successful life, not the version the world says you should want. And I'll be sharing what to actually do when chaos is swirling, when timelines are shifting, and when your team, your clients, and your calendar all seem to need something from you at once. We're going to ground into something deeper, because you don't need to have it all figured out, but you do need something to hold on to when the noise ramps up. And that something is your own methodology, your lens, your rhythm, something that doesn't shift with the tides. Let's drop in. I was recently chatting with a group of powerful women in business, colleagues who have been in the trenches, the launches, the pivots, the celebrations. And one thing that we all agreed on, well, this journey is beautiful, so beautiful. But it's also hard. Not sometimes, not just when you're starting out, but at every new level. It demands something from you. So many of us are building businesses and lives that didn't exist before us. We're paving new paths. Of course, it's going to feel bumpy. Of course, the map will feel unclear at times. And yet, what I know from the deepest part of my being is this: the ones who create their own version of success are not the ones who hustle the hardest. They're the ones who are clear on what they're creating and why. That's why I created the Embodied Success Method meditation, to help you reconnect to your inner compass, that grounded, wise, intuitive part of you that already knows what matters. It's your anchor when things feel wobbly. It's where clarity lives. Because without that clarity, it's so easy to start chasing other people's dreams, other people's blueprints, other people's pace. There's a phrase I've found myself saying a lot lately. When I'm in, I'm all in. And it's true. I don't do things halfway, not in business, not in motherhood, not in life. There was a long season when I was all in on being a present mother. My business was still running, but it wasn't my main focus. I chose not to scale or take on more because I wanted to be so present with my kids. And I don't regret it for 1 second. But I remember I could feel time passing. I watched peers move fast, innovate, create, rise. And while I knew I was making the right choice for me at that time, I also wondered, am I falling behind? Will I have to catch up someday? But what I've come to realize and what I want to affirm for you is this: if you're showing up fully in the season you're in, you are not behind. You're right on time. And when the season shifts, and it will, you'll be ready to rise with it because you've been doing the deeper work. So often, we define success by metrics that aren't even ours. How much money? How many followers? How fast is the growth going? But when you really sit with it, when you embody your definition, you realize that success is about how you feel in your life. And I remember sitting with my kids one day, and we were actually sitting under an oak tree at a local park. I had chosen to do some of our reading outside under a tree. It was so beautiful. It was springtime. And this was during my season of home educating them when they were younger. And I home educated them up until high school. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity. I realize it's not for everyone, but it was so for me, so for us. And we were sitting under this oak tree because it was really warm. It was early June, and I was like, we're sitting inside. Why are we sitting inside? We can be anywhere. Let's go sit somewhere really beautiful. And when I was sitting there and we were each reading from this book, like we took turns reading to each other, I remember just sitting back and looking at my boys and thinking, wow, this wasn't really what I pictured, but the feeling I had when I witnessed it was what I had imagined. It was this connection to them, this time outside of time of watching them become the people that they are and not being controlled by the rush of a schedule. I had always hoped that something like this would be possible. And yet I wondered because I didn't see too many models of it. I had a few, thankfully, that were like guiding lights for me. And sitting under that tree, though, I mean, I can feel like I'm there right now, remembering this. I felt a sense of freedom and peace inside of myself, and just this feeling that everything's going to work out. I am right on time. I'm meant to be here in this moment. And I want that for you wherever you are right now. I want you to be present in this moment because it is the only moment right now that will ever be like this moment. You'll never experience this moment again. And now I can look back on that from a place of having my son just finish his first term of business college and my youngest son be in his second last year of high school. And they're doing well and they're happy and they have great connections with their friends and they have a vision for their future. I mean, the vision that you have when you're that age that's constantly shifting. The point is, I couldn't have imagined exactly where they would be, how we would be, but I knew the feeling I wanted to have while I was going through that journey. My clients often come to me wanting time freedom, deeper impact, more spaciousness, not just more revenue. It is really about that feeling. And yes, the revenue comes, but not because they chased someone else's model. It's coming because they're aligning with their own model. And that is the power of self-leadership. And I must say, it's been very high on my list of curriculum items for my boys as well. Self-leadership. When you lead yourself first, when you listen to your body and your energy, when you trust your inner rhythms, that's when you become magnetic. That's when your decisions sharpen, your actions align, your results compound. And so I want to ask you this. Where are you still trying to copy someone else's strategy? Why are you posting like them, writing like them, structuring your day like them? And what if this week you undid that? What if you stopped using that framework as the be all end all that works for someone else and you think may work for you, and instead you refined your own? What if you gave yourself permission to trust your own rhythm? That is your real work this week. That's your next level. And trust me, it's not always easy, but it is worth it. So often on my journey, I've had this idea of how I want my life to look, and people around me, if I voice it to certain groups, will come back with how impossible it is, how that's just not how life works. And yet I'm looking back at my history of my 52 years and seeing how when I went all in on what I really desired, that was birthed in my soul, it all came together. And here I am now And nobody can tell me that it doesn't work because it has worked for me. And it has not just worked for me. It's worked for people that I know, mentors, and my clients. That is the power of rooting into your own method for life, for business, for everything. So when timelines move and the unexpected arises, because it will, it's happening right now, you need to be rooted in your rhythm, your values, your methods. Because here's what I've seen happen. When women operate from their own internal blueprint, they become unshakable. They don't crumble when the algorithm changes. They don't spiral when a launch doesn't go as planned. They pause, regroup, and realign because their foundation is solid. And that is what the embodied success method gives you. It gives you clear, grounded, tuned in. It helps you lead when the room is noisy. It helps you simplify when the world says, do more. It helps you feel safe taking your next step, even if you can't see the full path yet. I mean, do we ever really see that full path? We don't. There's so much trust involved. It's how you grow stronger and more rooted, no matter what's happening around you. That is true leadership. That's embodied success. Now listen, yes, it's going to be hard sometimes. Parenting is hard. Business is hard. Relationships take work, but you're going to face hard things either way. So why not do it your way? Because trust me, when you do it your way, it's actually a little bit easier because you're doing what your soul wants you to do. Why not? Why not go in on all of the things that you want? Because what I've seen in my life, in my business, in motherhood, in my marriage, is that when I go all in, I create beauty. I create depth. I create meaning, even if it looks different than someone else's version of success. And it removes the striving and the comparison. I mean, yeah, the comparison lifts its head at times. But often when I see that comparison, it's actually a beautiful way for me to recalibrate and make sure that I am actually on the path that I believe I'm meant to be on. And today, I'm in a season of gratitude because I've walked through the fire. I've paused. I've chosen presence. I've made the hard calls, and I've come out with a life that feels like me. And these things will be on repeat. These experiences will happen again. There will be more things to walk through. Absolutely. I'm so here for it though, because I know that you can come out on the other side and you can achieve the things that you truly desire. So wherever you are, know this: you're not behind. You are being shaped in this season, and your next level is waiting for you to define it on your terms. So if you're ready to get rooted, clear, and grounded again, start with the Embodied Success Method meditation. You'll find it at the link in the show notes. And it's such a short 8-minute experience that can be an anchor for you. It can be your reset button, your space to reconnect. And if you're ready to go deeper, to scale your business while honoring your rhythms and building from a place of alignment, then I invite you to explore this season's Growth Accelerator, because success isn't just about doing more. It's about becoming more of who you already are. And that's how you reach people and help create the transformation that you were brought here to do, the work that you were birthed to do, the work that only you know is happening inside of you that needs to come out. Thanks so much for being here with me today. If this message spoke to your heart, take a screenshot, share it, tag me, and let's remind each other we get to build a beautiful life our way. Thanks for listening, and have a beautiful rest of your week. Big blessings.